Hey everybody, it's Richard. I have been busy this week. It's been hard. We've been at the hospital and it's been difficult to get any updates typed up. So I figured maybe at this point the easiest thing to do would be to record a short YouTube video, given the update that way, so I could go ahead and get one out. So, like I said, it's been a rough week. We are in the hospital. Going back a little bit to Sunday, I think I typed an update for Sunday where I explained that um, Brandon had a feeding tube in, and he got sick on Sunday and threw up. And it was with enough force and volume that it brought the feeding tube out of his mouth. So it was going in through his nose, down into his stomach. When he threw up, it came out of his mouth. So it's still going up and through his nose and down and out his mouth. Without a guide wire, there's no way for us at home to get that back into his stomach. So we had to remove the feeding tube completely, which Brandon did himself. He did great with it. We did wait until Monday and talk to the doctor that morning. And the doctor basically said, or actually it was that afternoon by the time we talked to the doctor, said that we could try it a day without the feeding tube and see if he could take in enough nutrition to not need the feeding tube replaced right away. So he had been getting 4 cans, 8 ounces each, so about 32 ounces of shake each night through the feeding tube. So between Monday afternoon and Tuesday afternoon, the goal was to drink about 3 or 4 shakes in addition to what he was eating and drinking. Started off great, did about 3 shakes Monday afternoon, evening, night, and some water and some other food. So he was doing good. Tuesday morning, he got a nosebleed or a couple of nosebleeds. So we called in to let them know about that, left a message for the on-call. Before they got that message, they called us to check on the feed, and we explained about the nosebleed and the feed. So the feed, again, was going really well by that point. He had finished off almost 4 shakes, which was great. He had done some water, so he was doing everything right, and they were comfortable leaving the feeding tube out a little longer and seeing how he continued to do as far as nutrition. And we were at this point 5 days out from the last chemotherapy, which was doxorubicin. And doxorubicin affects the bone marrow, which affects production of blood cells and platelets and things like that. And so his counts are expected to be low starting at about 5 days out from the doxorubicin. So as that's where we were, it's not uncommon for his counts to be low, including the platelets. And having low platelet count causes nosebleed, or doesn't necessarily cause, but anyway, it's not uncommon to have nosebleeds when your platelet counts are really low. So it wasn't entirely unexpected, and they weren't terribly concerned about it if it didn't continue or get uncontrollable nosebleeds. So, and again, he was doing great nutritionally. So they, at that point, were okay with going another day and seeing how things went. But then shortly after that, about an hour after that call, Brandon complained about being cold, checked, and he had a fever. So at that point, we called back and they said, yes, go ahead and bring him into the emergency department at Brenner's Hospital. So we did, and they gave him antibiotics and whatnot, and did a blood culture. He had had COVID. I don't think I mentioned that, but I think that was in one of the typed updates. He had had COVID since the previous week, but the effects of it were really mild. So he was doing really well considering he had COVID. But this fever that spiked, he hadn't had a fever all the way up from last Wednesday until Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon, I mean. But then Tuesday afternoon, like I said, he spiked a fever over 100. So we ended up coming into the emergency department, and yes, I know, buddy. And so we came in, and I'm trying to remember. He was, and I forget the term. There's a term. It's something neutropenic. It means a fever with being neutropenic, which neutrophils are basically a component of the white blood cell that is what your body uses to fight off, infections and stuff. And so it's part of your immune system. It's an important part of the immune system. And so with those being really low, critically low, that means you're really prone to catching things. And he has a fever. It's, an indication that he caught something, caught a bug or a virus or something. And so they were doing cultures trying to figure out what it was he had caught, or if it was just the COVID acting up since he had that. So they did a culture, gave him antibiotics, found out he was neutropenic with a fever, which is a serious condition, but it's not uncommon again. He's had that before. So at that point, because he's neutropenic, they decided to give him some platelets, gave him platelets in blood and more platelets and more antibiotics. And the fever has been sort of off again, but it hasn't been off as long as it needs to be, which is about 24 hours with no fever. And so then Tuesday night, I think it was Tuesday night. I know, but so I think it was Tuesday night, had a really bad uncontrollable nosebleed, and so dealt with that, got that under control. Just calm down, let me finish the video, just relax. Try not to stress, okay? So anyway, I mean, it's just been really hectic with the fevers and all the things they've been doing to try and address it, and him being really emotional and sad because we're still in the hospital. So it is Friday. So we've been here since Tuesday, and we don't have a clear expectation of when we'll get out. We're really still hoping that it's tomorrow. That would be great, so we can be home for Christmas. Don't know if that's going to happen or not, but that's what we're hoping for, and that's what we're trying to do. But again, he has to be fever-free for a certain amount of time, and his counts need to come back up a little bit so that they're not so critically low. I think the they gave him more platelets this morning, or late last night, this morning. I can't remember anymore. It's all sort of bleeding together. I think it was maybe 2 or 3 this morning that they did that. Took some new labs right after the platelets, and his counts were up. So that was an improvement. That was good. Hopefully they stay up. And again, hopefully they stay up and will be fever free for long enough for us to get out of here sometime. So that's it for now. I'll try to provide some more updates. Again, uh, just being stuck here has been really stressful for Brandon. So if anybody wants to send any messages of encouragement to let him know that y'all are thinking about him, that would be great. I know he'd appreciate it. And of course, Rachel's at home feeling kind of left out. So any messages for her of encouragement would be great as well, and would be certainly appreciated. So that's it. That's it for now, and I'll try to provide another update tonight, either written or maybe another video. Thanks. And I also wanted to tell everybody thank you so much for your support. The contributions that we've received are great. I did go in and put a lot of offline donations. Now that my coworker set up that GoFundMe, I did go in and update it with some contributions that I've received over the past 6, 7 months. So the number looks bigger than it currently is as far as like resources available right now, because some of those were provided previously, some of the big ones especially. But I did want them to be in there so that we could recognize everybody that's helped support us since the beginning back in May, June timeframe when all this started. So what? So again, I updated and added all the offline donations from the last 7 or 8 months or so, but there's been a good number of donations since my coworkers put the GoFundMe together and it went live. And I just wanted to tell everybody how much we appreciate that. We've held together pretty well, living off of lines of credit cards. I was on short-term disability for a little while, and what we had available as far as anything in savings and some of the contributions that we had received from some charitable organizations earlier in the journey. We'd managed to make it through this month before we really got into a bind. But this month we did get to a point where bills weren't clearing and things like that. And so now that we've gotten some donations and we've been able to pay some of those bills, that was huge for us. It takes a lot of load off our mind. hopefully we'll be in a position to do a Christmas for the kids in January, or maybe we'll make their birthday in February extra special. But right now, just being able to cover the bills. And they did get some gifts from family and friends, and from a charitable organization donated some gifts for them. So they will get some gifts, but I won't be able to do much for them right now. But just being able to meet some of our basic needs, the bills and food and things like that, gas money to get to and from the appointments and everything, has been huge. But it's really not just about the money. It's also about seeing how many people are contributing and donating. It can be very isolating, especially again for Brandon, with his weakened immune system. All of four of us really, but especially Brandon and Rachel and my sister have been quarantined or isolated a lot for the past month and a half, 2 months. And so it can be very lonely and very sort of disconnected from everybody, to be sort of just either in the hospital or at home and not going much of anywhere else. So it can be, again, very isolating, very depressing. But to see so many people contributing and donating, please do send messages if you can, or if you are moved to, because really seeing those donations is not just about the money. It's such a source of encouragement and a sense of connection and support emotionally, to see that people care and people are engaging. And so that means a lot, and we definitely appreciate that. So thank you again to all those who have donated, or sent gifts or anything else. And please do continue, if you can, to donate or to send a message, email, a card. I've got a P.O. box on the website. You can send a card to if you want, or like I said, just an email or something would be awesome. And yeah, anything that you can do to encourage the kids would be wonderful and would be greatly appreciated, or any other kind of support that you're moved to provide. So again, thank you, and I'll provide another update as soon as I can. See you next time.